We start. So hello again. It is my great pleasure to have a Zoom interview with the President-elect of the European Atherosclerosis Society, and if I may allow to say also my great friend from UK. Kausik, it is a great pleasure to have with you a few minutes to talk about the forthcoming, very important from Polish physicians and lipidologists, 10th anniversary Congress of Polish Lipid Association. You will have anniversary honorary lecture during this Congress, and it is my great honor you have agreed to be with us. Please tell us a little bit about your subject, why it is important to talk about the Da Vinci study, because it will be one of the issues that you would like to mention during this lecture.
Thank you, Maciej, and I want to welcome everybody to this anniversary Congress. I mean, it's really important. Education is so important, particularly now in COVID, when we can't see each other, and these virtual meetings are doing such a wonderful job. So congratulations. I hope many people join. So the reason that we're actually covering in this talk Da Vinci is that we know guidelines tell us what we should be doing, but we know that implementation is the biggest challenge. And we know implementation often follows a decades behind evidence. And so to do that, and you were part of this, and we looked at 18 countries, 128 sites, nearly 6,000 people in Europe, to ask the question, not who doesn't get treatment, I mean, that's an even bigger question, but of those people getting treatment where you believe that they're at risk of cardiovascular disease and you use lipid-lowering therapy, what is it that you do? So it's very important that we look at that, because that might change, because European guidelines have become more aggressive. And what I'm going to be talking about is what we are doing now fit for purpose? And are we going to get there? So that's the first important thing. And the second thing is, if we're not going to get there, we often say, maybe it's just education. But sometimes new therapies have a role. And so where do they fit in? And we can get additional information, and you've been involved with some of these, and we know that there are some exciting new treatments that are available that may help us. And so the second part is about what the future might hold.
Yeah, because I need to ask it, because you are the PI of the Orion program with inclisiran. And I've just received the information that it is possible that inclisiran will be available in Poland, and I guess in European market in month time. So it is a very short time in order to have this drug available on the market. And I believe the important issue is that during this Congress, we will present the new Polish guidelines of lipid-lowering management, and you would like to, in fact, include probably as one of the first national guidelines, inclisiran and its place in the forthcoming lipid-lowering therapies. What is your opinion? Because I don't want to that we will talk about everything, but do you think that inclisiran will be an important part of the future lipid-lowering therapies in Europe? And
I think undoubtedly. I mean, this is a treatment that has now got CHMP approval in Europe, and obviously we don't know how much it costs, and that's the second part of any implementation. But I think the challenges that we have, that our patients have, imagine currently not being able to see patients as easily or conveniently, being able to provide an injection and knowing the next 6 months. They should adhere to their statins, etc. as well, but you have that additional reduction. You make life easier for doctors, make life easier for patients. And I think the real opportunities for population health, particularly for primary care, those in rural areas, large populations, the safety of it is incredible. And the potential, I'm really looking forward to the question and answers in particular next week to help discuss that.
Yeah, and I keep my fingers crossed, because I believe it is critically important. On the other hand, I'm a little bit afraid, I'm not sure whether you agree with me about the reimbursement of inclisiran as an add-on to existing reimbursement of PCSK9 inhibitors. Do you think it might be a kind of problem in order to have agreement of the governments?
Look, I think the answer is that we don't really know, and it all depends upon the companies, and I have no say in that. But I think that the possibilities are that this shouldn't, in theory, be as expensive as we've seen other treatments, and it won't be as cheap as a small molecule, for example, which is easy to manufacture. So it'll probably be somewhere in between. Now, where that is, I really don't know, but I think if it's marketed sensibly at a sensible price, undoubtedly, and we've seen this in other areas, haven't we, with SGLT2s and other things in the past, you know, dual anticoagulant therapy, that if you price them sensibly, uptake is better.
Yeah. And the last, but I believe critical important question, since January 2021, you start your great challenge as the president of the European Atherosclerosis Society. How it is important for you, and what are your main plans? Because I believe you will have a little bit time during your presentation and a little bit during the discussion at the Congress to talk also about it. But I know it very well that EAS is very much focused in order to support national societies. Yeah. But what are your main challenges and ideas?
No, thank you for that question and giving the opportunity to elaborate. I mean, I think my view is very much to take a leaf out of the president-elect of the United States, which is that, you know, there is nothing that we can't do when we work together. Absolutely nothing that we can't do, which basically means that if we continue to collaborate and work out better ways of sharing knowledge, not just the education, but actually to bring, it's like being nurturing those who are starting, give them a helper. Don't let them have to reinvent the wheel. And the whole thing about, you know, we all start from, I think this sort of whole concept of equality and social justice is really important. We've all started from different positions and we've benefited from mentors, from support along the way. So it's actually about opportunities. If you give people opportunities, then they can thrive. So that for me actually really becomes very important. I don't think these things can happen overnight, but my simple message is that nothing is going to be handed on a plate to anybody. But if you're willing to work hard and you're willing to be patient, then I think there is a role for anybody within the EAS. And I want to see us grow as a society to be the leaders in directing both research, both, you know, the research agenda. We can't do everything as a society, but we can set the stage for what others might achieve locally or internationally through collaborations. We can help support patient advocacy, we can help support implementation. And in a decade, let's look back and see, you know, we did that together. You've been part of the journey with the FHSC, for example. When we started out, you know, I remember there were a lot of people that doubted it, but look what we did in 5 years.
Yeah, I might only add that knowing you for, I don't remember, at least 10 years, I am very sure that you and we all together within the collaboration will be successful. And that is why, Kosh, we keep my fingers crossed here from Poland and from CE countries.
Well, I just wanted to add that I am so delighted that you have been elected onto the executive committee, because I mean, obviously this is a democratic process, people need to vote, etc. But I'm delighted that we are also fortunate to have you and somebody of your energy. You're another person that I've admired greatly in terms of their energy and what they've achieved. And again, I think this is one of these things where we can, working together, there are many areas that are not as well represented that they should be. But I think that I want to bring more people to the table. And this is, you know, having you working within that board for the next 4 years is going to be fantastic. And, you know, I can only imagine what we're going to achieve together.
Thank you very much for these words, Kosh. Okay, so if I may ask you as a last thing to say a few words as a kind of invitation for Polish doctors to take part in the Congress of the Polish Lipid Association, and I'm looking forward for your lecture and having the opportunity to discuss the results of the Da Vinci. If you may, in few words.
Sure. I would say to my colleagues in Poland that this is a fantastic opportunity for education. There are so many people that have registered already, so you can tell that the science is of a high quality, that the speakers of a high quality. Knowing the organizer, or many of the organizers, I have no doubts that it will be a tremendous success. Currently, you have lots of choices and lots of things that you could join, many opportunities, but I think this is not to be missed, because this is one of those opportunities where all your answers, you've got the latest data, the latest research, and importantly, what it means to you for your patients. So it is actually relevant to your everyday clinical practice. And obviously, there's all the CME accreditation, etc., that go with these type of meetings. So I really look forward to seeing you there, and I encourage you to attend for the whole of the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. It was a great pleasure to have a short opportunity to discuss it with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in next 2 weeks. I guess it will be about 2 weeks, because yes, I do believe that your lecture will be great, and it is also a kind of support of us, of people in Poland and lipidologists in Poland, to have you during this National Congress. So thank you very much.